Hey, look at that. I'm not driving. So, I'm kind of an idiot. And if I ever see something that's remotely video game related, I have to buy it. And I saw this advertisement online for an herbal alcohol from, I don't know, Central South America, that was somehow related to Resident Evil. So I bought it. And it's on the shelf. And I'm not drinking it because it's Resident Evil. I'm not actually playing Resident Evil this week. Why am I using this as a prop? Alright, so what am I playing this week? Let's talk a little bit about the stuff that I have finished. I have finished Little Witch No Beta, which, for those who might not remember, this is it's vaguely a Souls-like, but it has magic that kind of is a third-person shooter feel to it. So it's kind of closer to something like Remnant, if I'm perfectly honest. Remnant with anime girls and a talking cat and, you know, convoluted anime story. Anyway, I finished it, and I have to be honest, I really loved it. I felt like it was the right length. I felt like it was just a fun experience from beginning to end. It sometimes could be a little bit less than performant, at least on the Switch. Maybe if you play it on Steam or on other platforms. I know it's on Steam, but I don't know what other platform it's on. It might be a little bit better if you play it on Steam with like more capable hardware. But on the Switch, it was a little rough. There were some graphical effects that it was like they were trying to do a little bit too much with the Switch. In addition to that, it's probably not the most it's probably not the most optimized game, but I really enjoyed it. I recommend it very highly. If you are somebody who likes Souls-likes, I do recommend this very highly. It's really fun, and I beat it. Little Witch No Beta. Exceptionally fun. I also beat Evil West. Evil West took me way too long to beat, and I would honestly chalk that up to the game being longer than it should be. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Evil West, it's this third-person shooter in this alternate history of the American West, where there's vampires in the American West, and there's a secret government agency that is their mandate is to fight the vampires, and it's a really fun game. I did enjoy it, but it was something that it was too long. There was an awful lot of feeling like you've done this thing before. There's an awful lot of like repeated. I don't want to say it's repeated levels, because they're not. They're different levels, different areas, but they're stylistically so similar to earlier levels, and you're fighting the same enemies over and over again, except now, there's more of them. And it's like, it just doesn't... It goes on too long. And it's got way too many reused content for my liking. Like, they could shave off, honestly, like the last third of the game, and it would have been much better, much more tight. But you get to this village with this church right after this big battle, and you're like trying to defeat all the vampires that are like coming out of the ground, and it's like that honestly felt like it should be the end of the game. Like, it felt like, okay, this is a good climax. But no, then it's like as soon as that's over, then you go and you're doing the same shit you've been doing the whole game. It was a little lame. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It's too long. I do recommend it. It's, you know, it's Flying Wild Hog. They're a pretty good developer to you know, give a chance to if you're looking for a fun third-person shooter. All right, so what is new? I literally just finished Evil West, and I'm going to be starting Resident Evil 4 maybe tonight, maybe in a couple of nights. I don't know, but for now, here's the new stuff that I am playing. Immediately after finishing Little Witch No Beta, I popped in Loop Hero on my Switch. Loop Hero is a little independent game. It was published by Devolver Digital. This is the limited physical edition from Special Reserve. There's like so many limited boutique companies. Like Special Reserve and Signature Edition, I keep getting the two mixed up. But one is associated with Merge, the other is associated with Devolver. Whatever. Anyway, the point is, this is the limited physical edition that was put out by Special Reserve. Anyway, what is Loop Hero? Loop Hero is it's a roguelite auto battler where the central conceit is that there's a randomly generated loop around an unknown map, and your character runs around the loop and fights enemies that are found on the path. And from the enemies and from other mechanics in the game, it depends on lots of different things. Like there's different classes that have different mechanics, but as you defeat enemies, essentially you get drops, and the drops can be one of two types of things. It can either be equipment that you put onto your person to change their stats, or it can be cards that you then use to play that represent items out in the world, and you place you play those cards on the map to fill out the map and to start painting a more robust world. And the cards have different things. You know, there's stuff like modifiers for changing the path. You can have like, oh, here's a forest, or here's a graveyard, and they spawn special enemies. They can also do things like, well, here's a field, and the field makes it so that when you get back to the camp, you heal more. Or here's mountains, and the mountains make it so they raise your maximum HP. And, you know, you basically just keep looping until you die, hit a boss, or if you've defeated the boss, die, because you can just keep looping basically forever. It's a super fun game. It's available for all sorts of different platforms. It's on Steam. It's Steam Deck compatible, so if you've got a Steam Deck, I have to be honest, this would be a great game for the Steam Deck. It's actually on my Steam wish list. I would like to get it again. I'm waiting for it to become cheap. You know, some Steam sale, and then I'll probably buy it, install it on my Steam Deck, because this just seems like a great game for like on the go or mobile play. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. I'm playing it. I enjoy it. All right, so what else is new? So, if you saw my last... Was it my last unboxing? Like, what's in Sam's mailbag? It was either the last one or the one before. I can't be bothered to look it up. You'll notice that all of these games are games that came recently. So, and they're also ones that they're going to be stuff that I finish this week, and probably won't talk about them again next week. But here's all the little, like, quickie new games that I'll be playing this week. Quartet. This is the Master System game that I picked up recently. Quartet is just it's a little platformer with it's not Metroidvania. Don't think that it is, but it does have levels that are branching and have little hidden stuff to go look into and explore, looking for, your keys, or your, keys to unlock the final, the exit to the level, or things like the jetpack so you can fly around. But it's a little shooter platformer. It's a lot of fun. An interesting aside on this game is the name. This was originally an arcade game with 4-player co-op. That's why it was called Quartet. But for the Master System version, there was only 2 players. So it's kind of silly that it's still called Quartet. But that's the name of it, so whatever. Anyway, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. Another new one that I'm playing this week. I've been playing this a lot on my Analog Pocket. Mappy. For the Game Gear. I'm just a huge fan of Mappy, the arcade game. It's one of probably in my top 5 favorite arcade games of all time. And I had to pick it up again for the Game Gear when I saw it. And I've been playing it. I've been playing it on my Analog Pocket. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just really super fun. So one other game that's new that I'm playing is MyHouse.wad. So what is this? It's a Doom WAD. Specifically, it requires Doom 2's base WAD, and it runs on GZ Doom. All of which is free except for the Doom 2 WAD, which you do have to own Doom 2, but you can go and get it on Steam or GOG for pretty darn quick, or darn cheap. Probably also find it somewhere else if you really went looking. Anyway, what is MyHouse.wad? It is hard to explain. It's kind of a meta game. Like, that's the way I would describe it. It's, so, ostensibly, it's like, how much can I tell without spoiling it? It's amazing, is what it is. But seriously, how much can I tell without spoiling it? So, there was a post on some Doom forum. I think it might have been last year. I didn't bother to look it up beforehand. And it was basically this post from this guy who's like, I used to be really active here, but it's been like, 18 years or so, and I haven't uploaded anything in a while. But I had a friend that passed away recently, and I decided I wanted to kind of, as a tribute to this friend, recreate his house in Doom, and released it to the world as MyHouse.wad. And if you play it, I mean, it's at first blush, it doesn't seem any different from any other of the myriad of people recreating their homes in Doom. It's a house. It's a little suburban house with Doom enemies in it. But the deal is, that's just the surface of what it is. What's lurking behind it is some incredible internet creepypasta, just kind of masked behind this really seemingly simplistic recreation of somebody's house in Doom, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and and why I said it's metagame, because in addition to having there be a lot of game inside this, like an unexpected amount of game, like way more than you would expect there to be in here. In addition to that, there's like all of this like meta internet creepypasta that's associated with it, from the README file that is inside the zip file that contains the WAD, to the internet forum posting, to other little drips and drabs of internet stuff that is associated with it. And it very much descends into madness. Like, very much descends into like this very creepy, weird playing with you, with the way that you expect a Doom level to be, subverting your expectations. And, you know, you start out in this, again, I don't want to get too spoilery, but you start out in this little, real simple Doom, this real simple house recreated in Doom, and very quickly things start changing, things start messing with you, and, you know, you wind up in all sorts of different places, from, you know, a burned version of the house to like a creepy daycare, to some things that are honestly kind of Silent Hill-y, you know, kind of like that same vibe, to like a brutalist designed apartment complex with the house kind of crammed into it. It's glorious, and it has multiple endings, which is insane. It's a Doom map. It's a Doom WAD. How does it have all this insanity in it in one tiny little Doom file? It's glorious. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to give you any more information about it. If you have any interest in internet creepypasta or really amazing little Doom maps, you should go check it out. MyHouse.wad. I will probably include a link to somebody who went through and systematically took the game apart to understand, or the map apart to understand what's happening in it. But really, if you're interested, go in blind, play it a couple of times, and then go watch a video like that one to kind of understand how to complete it, how to get the quote-unquote good ending, or some of the bad endings, because there's several bad endings. It's amazing. It's amazing. Go check it out. MyHouse.wad. That's the other new thing. Okay, so one thing I was going to say about this that I forgot to say. Technically speaking, I've been playing it for about 3 weeks. But I kept forgetting. I kept forgetting to mention it in the last 2 videos. And admittedly, there's just been a lot of insanity in my household with the flooring, and then there's some stuff that my wife had done in the backyard. So it's been a little bit crazy, but yeah. I just forgot to mention it, but I'm mentioning it now. It's amazing. Go check it out. The last new one this week, Virtual Racing for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. This is the other one that I picked up. I actually have Virtual Racing for the 32X, which is the superior version of this game. I mean, you know, better than the Genesis version. But I did want to get the Genesis version because, I mean, it's partly for completeness, but it's also partly because I find the technical aspects of this game really, really fascinating. It's, you know, the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive was a 16-bit system, didn't have any sort of 3D capabilities, you know, natively. You could do some creative stuff to kind of simulate 3D environments, and stuff like Zero Tolerance, you know, did a pretty good job at that. You also had stuff like hard driving and things like that had like the flat shaded polygonal stuff. But Virtual Racer, you know, in order to really get the most performances they possibly could on the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, they actually put extra processing power, as far as I understand. I could be, this might just be stuff that I have heard over the years that is wrong, but as far as I understand, there's like extra processing power in the cartridge, very similar to Star Fox on the SNES. You know, something to just give it a little bit extra oomph so that it can play, you know, do these high frame rate 3D graphics. And it's, you know, it's not necessarily 60 frames per second, but it's certainly very playable. But I've been playing it a lot lately. It's fun. And I'm enjoying it. Virtual Racing. I think that's it. That's what I'm playing. Goodbye.